Alex Jones here, reporting for Infowars.com. Earlier today, I filed a weekend special report titled Staged Terror Attack on Norway Part 1. And I only got into a fraction of the preliminary evidence that clearly points towards this being a false flag staged terror attack. Now, it is important to note that throughout history, governments have done this over and over again. In fact, a lot more complex than even this event. You know, of course, that Hitler firebombed his own Reichstag in 1933 to grab more power and declare emergency rule. You know that to launch World War II, Hitler, of course, attacked his own military base on the German-Polish border at Gleiwitz. That's mainline history. And even dressed up prisoners in German uniforms and shot them, and dressed up prisoners in Polish uniforms and shot them for the newsreels. The Russians have been caught doing similar things as well. And there's always telltale signs in these false flag terror events. Of course, first, there was the preparatory phase. The last year, white Al-Qaeda is going to get you, white militias are going to get you, the right wing's going to get you. Anybody that doesn't want the foreign banks looting your country into oblivion, who doesn't like austerity, is a racist. You don't like government health care, you're a racist. The racists are coming. They're going to blow you up. They're going to get you. Only big, loving government that's killing the brown people all over the world with bombs they drop can save you. And then, of course, going back 9 years, most of the Homeland Security training was returning veterans of the #1 terrorist, Ron Paul supporters, gun owners, people that don't like the UN, people that don't like the Federal Reserve. And so we've been saying, folks, they're going to train everybody to say, hey, just take the rights of the Muslims away, but that will take everybody's rights away. And then that they would flip it, because we know Oklahoma City was a staged event. Look into it. My film Road to Tyranny covers it with the proof. The first World Trade Center attack, on record, the FBI cooked the bomb, trained the driver, ordered the bombing to go ahead, and then they framed a CIA minion, the blind sheik, and put him in prison. I mean, this all even came out in the New York Times and CBS News. So the list of these go on and on and on. And if we don't look at it as a false flag, I mean, if you have a group that's been caught staging events over and over again, the private banking cartel through government and intelligence agencies, 7/7, you name it. And then the next time there's an event and they stand to gain to distract people from the political implosions, to distract the population from the police state, to sell fear. If you don't look at who's been caught doing it in the past over and over again, don't forget Operation Gladio, over 200 staged terror attacks all over Europe on record carried out by NATO and the U.S. government to blame the Soviets. That's declassified. Britain's declassified it, Germany and Italy. Their own parliament has released the files. And I mean blowing up school buses to blame it on their political enemies, the leftists at that time. There was a communist group in the parliament that was controlled. There was also a right-wing group that was controlled. So this was a real leftist group, well, in the Bologna bombing case, that they were going after. The point is that this is meant to demonize groups. And so now the media has said anybody involved in any nationalistic, not even right-wing group, and it turns out this guy is aligned with basically the Libertarian Party of Norway. It turns out that now they're saying he's connected to all these international groups. So see, there's international right-wing terrorism now, and already Michael Savage can't travel to England because he's talked bad about Muslims, and oh, this guy did too. So see, talking again, they're demonizing free speech. This is what the whole system was built for. They sold it that it was for Muslims, but it's going to be flipped, just like Hitler beta tested on Jews and communists, then flipped it on everybody. That's how tyrants work. They're following it with precision. But let's go over just a few of the pieces of evidence here. Oslo police conducted bomb exercise days before terror blast, 48 hours before, literally hundreds of yards away. And if you don't know why governments, before they stage something, do this, they bootleg the terror attack funding through the government drill money. On 7/7, they admit they ran a drill of the exact same bus, exact same trains, attacked at the exact same locations at the exact same time. Totally impossible. Something like 23 trillion, trillions of times all the sand, all the grains of sand in all the world that could happen in the actuary that was done. And you can just search Peter Powers' London Underground drill on 7/7. Same on 9/11, drills at the exact same targets, hit at the exact same time. So NORAD stood down, and there's the tapes of air traffic control going, is this part of the drill or part of the, I've never seen some of the artificial inputs on my screen. I can't tell what's going on. The F-16 pilots told to fly at stalling speed. Again, all the signs are there. As usual, a drill hundreds of yards away. Absolutely incredible. And right at a time when Europe's not wanting to go along with the banker robberies, the banker bailouts, right as the austerity is going into place, stealing the public and private pension funds. So there's your drill. You can read about it. And it's all over the mainstream news in Norway. We've translated it and have links to it there. We also saved this in case they pull it down, because we're already seeing newspapers pull down the guy in his Masonic garb and all the rest of it. And that, was there a second gunman? Survivors tell story, tell police of attacks in 2 different areas of Norwegian island. And of course, I mean, it turns out the prime minister, it wasn't known publicly that he would be at that island. So they bombed the building with his office in it. And I just remembered a few years ago it came out that the Taiwanese president admittedly staged a shooting of himself in a parade. There's so many examples of this, and it came out that he staged the shooting of himself in a fake bullet wound. God, I mean, this stuff never ends. I'm sorry. Now, yeah, I would say this guy's probably one of the prime suspects or his handlers. But they hit his the prime minister's offices. Then they hit the media retreat he's at and target a bunch of young people that were there with the media. And now they're saying it's over 90 dead there. Folks, one person, that strains credibility that one person could do that. But just like in Columbine, they're reporting that there were more than just, the one shooter here, the 2 shooters there. And it did come out in the Rocky Mountain News. The police had to admit that they shot at least 2 of the children, quote, accidentally. But the people inside reported there were a bunch of men in black uniforms. Then they just killed the patsies. And generally, who think they're part of a drill. Harrison Kleinbold had shot another video for the school and ran the school's film department as volunteers about shoot-ups in the school, who got 120-plus propane bombs inside the building. And again, it's the same MO over and over again. Beslan with the Russians is the same system. They have special ops kill the people. Then they either grab a drugged-out patsy or they shoot the patsy on site. Let's continue here now. Kurt Nimmo's article, evidence shows Norway terror attack a false flag. So you got a drill going. You've got people reporting more than one gunman all over the news. You've got the fact that he could magically, supposedly, kill 90-plus people. I mean, and that no one would rush him, no one would resist him. At Fort Hood, folks resisted, and that's why the death toll was a lot lower. I know I would certainly resist. And by the way, I've had somebody pull a gun on me before, and I did take it away. So don't say, oh, you don't know what you do. I don't believe folks wouldn't have fought back on those 4 flights with box cutters. Give me a break. I mean, are you kidding? Just, I don't believe that for a minute. Of course, cell phones also work at 30,000 feet. Of course, they don't, but government tells you they do, non-air phones. And they're now connecting it to all the groups that are anti-EU, anti-globalist banker takeover. Right on time, as we told you earlier in the week, that they're rolling out what's already been behind the scenes, teaching police and military that it's the Ron Paul anti-New World Order people that want to go after Goldman Sachs and J.P. Morgan. They're the terrorists. And the 50 attorney generals of the states are now signing deals to legalize the taking of homes that the banks don't even own. That was in Reuters 2 days ago. And if you complain about any of this, you're a terrorist. And look for more soft targets to be hit. Look for banks to be hit so they can play the part of victims while they run around terrorizing everybody. This is standard operating procedure. There's a lot of other anomalies and points. We're going to be covering them all in the days to come. And I'll be on the radio tomorrow for the Sunday edition, 4 to 6 p.m. Central, 5 to 7 Eastern, 2 to 4 Pacific. To be technical, 3 to 5 Mountain. Please spread the word. Alex Jones reporting from the front lines of the info war. They are now flipping it to the whites are the terrorists. Get ready. Because they've already invaded and taken over the Middle East, so now they're moving on to their next phase, domestic total takeover during the implosion.